Also, you can set here if your credit, you'll be displaying it using a negative sign, or you may uncheck this. Of course, it's the usual debit and credits for us, and use negative amount for reverse transactions. Segmented accounts is basically it's like coding. Say for example, you have cash in head office as cash 101, and then if you have departments in that head office, so you may say cash 101-1 for, let's say, the sales department, cash 101-2 for another department, and so on. 101 is for the head office. You can have another location for that, which is like maybe Cebu branch, so that becomes 102, and then 102-1 for the K1 department, 102 for another 102-2 for another department. It's going to be like that when it comes to segmented accounts, but the problem here is that you may have a kilometric chart of accounts. Okay, so I don't like using that one. So usually in the US settings, it's segmented. Yeah, again, because they have plenty of states. And then for the setup of your inventory, we have here moving average, standard, or FIFO. This is just a default. SAP Business One will allow you to have different evaluation methods for each of the items, so you can actually customize one item. But if you don't want to be bothered by a lot of setups, then this is already the default. All right, so let's leave this one first, and then I'll click update. Next we have, okay, we'll skip some of this because our focus right now is about the business processes and accounting. Okay, so authorizations, later on you can see here all the users and then what are their access level and authorization. Okay, so that's later. This not document numbering is actually very important, but for now we'll not focus our energy here. But just to give you a glimpse, you can, okay, the series here, it says primary. You can actually change the, let's say, suffix of your of your document numbers. So yeah, just so you have here an expectation of the first document number, which is number 1, the next document number of that invoice. So here you can monitor actually the series of your documents. You can actually have multiple series. Let's say for example you want to have one employee to have, okay, one series of documents, and then another employee for another series of documents. Right now the default is that all employees for AR invoice will share the same series. Alright, so okay, next is this one, the setup already. So which comes first, business process or accounting? Well, if you look at general, so you have here users. Okay, this is where you will set up the employee's access to the system. This is not employee master data, but this is about the access. Okay, so but this can be linked to employee master data. Okay, not all employees will have access to the system, that is for sure. Okay, so another one here is security. So this what I've said earlier ago, that when it comes to security level, you can have these options: low, medium, high, and custom. Okay, so of course this will change accordingly if you will, okay, change that one. That is not that would be a topic for computer accounting too. Alright, so that is for the general. Then let's go to the financials. Alright, so in the financials here, you will be creating the chart of accounts. Okay, so if you look at the chart of accounts, by the way, There's nothing in there except the first level accounts, the title, assets, liabilities, capital, and so on. So we will create the chart of accounts. Okay, for the assets, we know that under the assets we have current assets, and let's say the code here is 11000. Okay, next is we have non-current assets, which is of the same level as the current assets or a sub-level of assets. A1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Non-current assets. So all A, you would know that's under assets. You know that A1 is still assets. A11 though is specific, that is for for current assets, and A1200 is for non-current assets. Okay. For the current assets, we know that under that we have, okay, let's copy 111. 000, that would represent the code for current assets. Let's add another one, which is let's say 10, and that will represent cash and cash equivalents. Another one, same level, A111, 1, 2, 3 representing current assets, and 20, that would be for trade and other receivables. By the way, we can actually do auto generation of codes if we want, but I like this one better because it's customizable. Next is A1110030 representing inventory. Next is A1110040 representing prepayments. And for the last one, we have A1110050. This will be for other non-current assets. Okay, so this is not yet our posting account. We don't record cash and cash equivalents. We need a specific account for that. So let's say add sub-level account A111000 representing current assets, 10 for cash and cash equivalents. Let's say 1 to represent. So is this? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so I'll have this cash on hand, and this is an active account. Another one is, okay, to be simplify our life, we'll just copy that. Same level, but this time, okay, I see. So it's my, actually it's my keyboard that need multiple ones. So this one is 10101, 10101, 10101. This must be 2, and this will be cash in bank. However, cash in bank, most likely companies will have multiple cash in bank, so it's just a typo. They'll have specific account titles after that. For this, let's edit 10. Okay, so this is already a posting account. Well, this one needs to be, okay, it needs to have sub levels. Let's say A111000101. That will be cash in bank, for example, Metro Bank account, current account. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another one. A111001022 for CI cash in bank, let's say BDO savings account 98765. With our chart of accounts, okay, so to facilitate our discussion, we skipped some. What we have here are the essentials. So the next process is to have a relationship between these documents, all the documents actually in these modules, have a relationship with the, or map that, tag that to the accounts. Okay, so to do that, again, set up, and this is what we call as the GL account determination. The reason why we're doing this SAP series is because the system that we'll be using, it is an ERP system, but it will not give us the freedom to map this one, which is really very important. So you can see here that we have basically sales, purchasing, sales, general, and stock. So when you say sales, so these are already mapped to the document under sales, so particularly invoice, and then we have the returns, all documents that require actually with automatic journal entries. Okay. So for our domestic accounts receivable, we need to set that, okay, as this one, AR trade. Okay, we need to set it up as a control account because it will have subsidiaries. Okay, so that's why it is a control account. We need to set that up in the system. So it's there already. Foreign accounts receivable, maybe you would like to have another account title for AR for customers that are located outside the country, or customers with different currencies. Okay, so you can set that up here. Now for now we only have this, so let's just have that one. Checks received. When you receive check, it should not be cash, should not be cash on hand, or it should not be cash in bank. So definitely not cash in bank, because when you receive check as collection, you need to deposit it first before it becomes cash in bank. So you need to have a clearing for that. Okay, see, do we have a, okay, we have a clearing. When you deposit this one, only then that it becomes cash in bank. Okay, so the entry when we receive check as a collection, a debit to cash clearing, and a credit to AR. When you deposit, which is another process, the clearing will be credited and the debit will be to your cash in bank. Of course, cash on hand, of course the system wouldn't know which one is the cash on hand, so we have to click on this one and tag it as a cash account, and then it will become our cash on hand. Next is overpayment of AR. Okay, maybe it's rounding, you can charge it. The creation here, the mapping here, and the assignment of the account titles should be done in coordination with the accounting or the audit or the people responsible, the people responsible on our client's end. Okay, we will not do this on our own. We know how to do this, but the decision as to what account titles to be used is the discretion of your client. Okay, let's say underpayment is still the same, so and so on. Okay. Oops. So this is just, these are just illustrations. It may be very different in real life. Another important module, which is purchasing. So we have accounts here. So again, these are the processes, and when these processes are happening during the transaction creations, then it will simply fetch whatever is assigned here so that an automatic journal entry is created. Alright, again, I just want to reiterate that these accounts being assigned here are for illustration purposes. The real thing, or the real account that will be assigned, is based on the decision of your client, particularly coming from the accounting department. And of course, for the domestic accounts payable, okay, let's say AP trade, and it is to be a control account because it will have subsidiaries. A control account will have a set of master data. Okay. Alright, so we'll have to update this. And another important thing is that during purchasing, okay, we will purchase. Normally there is always stats, so we can set up that it will have input tax. So far this is UK localization. It doesn't have Philippine input tax yet, so we can set it up here. Philippine, okay, let's say IP. Okay. You know, these are just labels or titles. Philippine input tax. The more important thing here is the what account title to be called when there is a transaction. So input tax, so we have set it up that every time there is a purchase and there is a need to create, this account will be called, and then effective from, let's say, the beginning of the year, and then the rate is 12%. Okay, so the system will automatically compute that tax for you. Sometimes there are exempts. Okay, we call it Philippine input tax exempt. Okay, the account title to be used, even though if it is exempt, the system will compute it at 0%. Okay. Without setting this up, the system will give you an error because it again will fetch something from the system. Okay, we don't have the okay. So that is for the input tax. For the services, let's say the same. Okay, input tax. Alright. For the sales, we need to have an output tax, but then again, this is not yet configured. Let's configure to have output tax, Philippine output tax, and the account title to be called when there are transactions, sales transactions. It should be output tax. Okay, the rate is 12%, and then we always have okay, OTX. This is for Philippine output tax exempt. The account title is this one. Here. Okay. And then tax definition is 0%. Alright. So you will choose this one. This is the default. Every invoice will have a default of this tax. If you want that invoice to be exempt, there is a setting per invoice to make it exempt, or there is a setting for each customer or supplier that your transactions with them will be exempt. Okay, but for now we have the defaults.